Hi, my name is the Skinfiltrator, and if you don't know who I am, I'm an esthetician and LGBT who specializes in skincare for people of color, and I'm here to help you get the very best skin you can. So make sure you subscribe, and you can follow me on all my socials down below. So today we're talking all about hyperpigmentation. This is by far my most requested question. This is my most asked question. How do I get rid of it? What products do I use? And how long is it gonna take? I'm gonna answer all those questions today, but a quick note before we get onto that. If you have hyperpigmentation, you do not have to treat it. You're beautiful, it is natural, you don't have to do anything. But if, like me, you do wanna treat it, I've got the answers for you. There are many different reasons as to why we get hyperpigmentation. This can be things such as medication, contraception, or your hormones, sun exposure, and even just having a darker skin tone. There are many different ways to treat hyperpigmentation. I'm going to take you through a few of my favorites, the ones that I found have been most effective for my skin. The first and by far the most important step, you guessed it, is SPF. I know that dermatologists and skincare creators go on and on and on about SPF. It is for good reason. Sun exposure really does make hyperpigmentation worse. On top of that, when you are treating your hyperpigmentation, you are going to be exposing your skin to a lot of products that are going to make your skin more susceptible to sun damage. In the least dramatic way, if you're not using SPF in your skincare, everything else you're doing is more or less void. One of my favorite SPFs, especially for darker skin, is Bondi Sands. I find that this gives you no white cast. It feels great on the skin, so definitely get your SPF. For hyperpigmentation, you want to be making sure that you use an SPF 30 and above. I find SPF 50 is great, especially for skin of color, and you want to make sure that you're using either a broad spectrum or a mineral sunscreen, and that you're reapplying your sunscreen every 2 hours. So the next ingredient that is really key for treating hyperpigmentation is a retinol, and in particular tretinoin. So tretinoin you need to get from a dermatologist, and you're gonna hear me say this through all my videos. It's so important to make sure that you invest in a dermatologist. They are going to be the best thing. They know exactly what they're talking about. So what it does is it increases the rate at which your skin cells renew itself. I find that retinols are super effective when it comes to hyperpigmentation. It's definitely one of the most effective treatments. It's going to really help to speed that process. One of my favorite retinols is the one from the Inkey list. It's super affordable, it feels good, and I find that it doesn't make me purge as much. So the next ingredient, and I definitely think you've heard of this one before, it's called Kojic acid. Kojic acid for me has been one of the most effective treatments for hyperpigmentation, and definitely one of the most fast-acting treatments. I love using Kojic acid soap bars, and what I do is I use my finger and a little bit of water to turn it into a paste, and then I spot treat where I have hyperpigmentation. It's also really important to make sure that you are spot treating your hyperpigmentation, because with hyperpigmentation it is an area that's darkened. So if you're going to treat the whole area, you're just going to get a lighter area with the same hyperpigmentation. It's gonna almost lighten at the same rate, so make sure that you're spot treating. The next ingredient I'm gonna talk about is something called Tranexamic acid. Tranexamic acid is one of the newer acids on the market. It is absolutely one of my favorite acids, especially because it's really good for sensitive skin. It's so gentle and it interacts with other acids really well. One of my favorites is from the Inkey list again, nice and affordable, and it's an overnight treatment, so you can put it on, go to sleep, get your beauty sleep, and wake up in the morning with great skin. And then the final product, the queen of skincare, vitamin C. So I know there's a little bit of controversy as to whether vitamin C is really as effective, but I find for hyperpigmentation, a vitamin C with ferulic acid is chef's kiss, amazing. One of my favorites is from Dr. Lara Devgan. It has vitamin C, B, and E in it. All of the alphabets. This is so good for hyperpigmentation. It's going to even out your skin. It's also going to really help your sunscreen to work even better, which is so key. So it's just going to give you all around protection. Finally, I'm just going to talk about how I would put that into routine. It's all well and good knowing all the products, but how do you use them together? So let's get into it. So my first step in the morning is to use a gentle cleanser. I love the CeraVe range, so I would start with that. Once I'm out the shower, I keep my skin a little bit damp and follow up with a hyaluronic acid for moisture. After that, I'm going to follow up with a vitamin C. and then I'm gonna follow up with my sunscreen. So that's the morning done. Now we're into the evening. You're gonna use one of the ingredients of your choice to treat your hyperpigmentation. So that can be either the retinol or tretinoin, as we mentioned earlier, the Kojic acid, the Tranexamic acid, whichever one is your choice, use that, and make sure that you're varying days. So at the moment, for me, my evening skincare of choice would be to double cleanse, and then to follow up with a serum like hyaluronic acid once again, and then to follow up with the Tranexamic night treatment from the Inkey list. So that is my hyperpigmentation 101. If you have any questions, I am friendly. I do not bite unless you want me to, so please reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any questions I can, and make sure that you follow, like, subscribe, all of that good stuff.